Thank you everyone for taking the time out of your day to learn how to find the equation of a line given 2 points. If you remember last week, what we did was we gave you a point on the graph, and then we gave you the slope of the graph, and you were able to use that slope to solve for the y-intercept, and then we were able to get the equation. This week, we're making it a teeny tiny bit more difficult, and we're just going to give you any 2 points that are on the graph. And from those 2 points, you can find the slope, you can find the y-intercept, and then you'll have the equation. We're going to take the same format as last week. This first lesson will be solving it graphically, so you can kind of see what's going on. And then the next assignment that we're going to do, we're going to solve it algebraically. And you'll find that the process is very similar to last week. So let's go ahead and get started. First example says to find the equation of the line that goes through the points -8, 10 and -6, 5. Let's start by graphing those. -8, 10 goes -8 in the x direction, 10 in the y direction, and that would be up there. And the point -6, 5 would be backwards by 6, upwards by 5, and that goes there. So now we're going to have a line that goes straight through those two. So you can, I'm just going to do a rough sketch of this. It's going to go on forever and ever and ever and so on, kind of like that. Let's be a little more precise about it though. Let's start by finding the slope. Accidentally got rid of that one. Let's start by finding the slope. So to get from one point to the next, you realize that we have to go down. And we went down by 5, and we went over by 2. So our slope, I'll make a note of that over here, our slope is going to be -5/2 because it's going down by 5 and over by 2. So now what we can do is we can continue that process going down 5/2 and making more points. So we're going to go from this point here, we're going to go down 5 and over 2. That takes us here. We'll continue the process going down 5 and over 2. And we'll continue it once more, down 5 and over 2. And now you realize we've found the y-intercept. So that y-intercept is going to be right there at -10. So my y-intercept is a -10. Let's go ahead and at least connect the dots to make it a line. So this line would start here and go down, 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 and the equation of that green line, that's the line that goes through those 2 points up here, we know the slope and we know the y-intercept. So let's go ahead and write the equation out. We have y equals -5/2x minus 10. So we found the slope by using rise over run, and we kept using that rise over run to find the y-intercept, which was way down there at -10. One more example. Find the equation of the line that goes through the points 5, -2 and 10, -6. Let's start by plotting 5, -2. That'll be here. And the point 10, -6. 10, -6 is down here. First thing we have to find is the slope. So the slope, if you're going from left to right, it's going down by 4. So it's going down 4, and it's going over by 5. So I'm going to make a note of this. My slope in this case is down 4 over 5. So it's -4/5. And if we keep going over to the right, that's not going to do us much good. We're not going to find the y-intercept that way. So we can go backwards to find the y-intercept. So we can go up by 4 and backwards by 5. So starting at this point here, I'm going to now go up by 4 and backwards by 5. And you'll see that we've got our y-intercept there. We're going to plot a couple more points that we can fit. We can go up by 4 and back by 5. And up by 4 and back by 5 would take us there. So that line, we'll connect them. Let's start here, Go all the way down. So the line that goes through these 2 points, 5, -2, and 10, -6, is that line that we just drew in red. And we already knew the slope, -4/5, but now we know that the y-intercept is going to be right there, and that y-intercept is at 2. So I'll make a note of that. The y-intercept is 2. So the final equation is going to be y equals -4/5x plus 2. That line has a slope of -4/5 and a y-intercept of 2. I'm going to give you the password now. The password for this week is going to be ONOMATOPOEIA. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is kind of like when you take sounds that you can't really spell, like the doorbell. A doorbell, ding dong. We've made that sound called ding dong. That's called onomatopoeia. So it's taking a sound that you probably don't know how to spell, and we're making like a word out of it. So ding dong, that's an example of onomatopoeia. ONOMATOPOEIA, onomatopoeia. Go ahead and try the next 2 on your own, and then when you are done, come on back, and then we'll make it a teeny tiny bit harder. Not that much though. So go ahead and pause the video now. All right, just a little hint. For the first one, your y-intercept should have been 9. The second one should have been -5. So if you did it correctly, there you go. Next example, find the equation of the line that goes through the points -3, -7, and 6, 5. So here's -3, -7, way down here. And then we have 6, 5. 6, 5 is over 6 and up 5. It's going to be way up here. Well, oh no, this seems like a little bit more difficult. Let's start, same process. We're going to find the slope. So the slope between these 2 points. If you start at the left one and go all the way up to the one on the right, it's going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then it's going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So your slope is 12/9. However, we know that this number can be reduced. The 12 and 9 can both be divided by 3. So we're going to change this to be 4/3 for the slope. So if we divide the top by 3, we get 4. Divide the 9 by 3, we get 3. 12/9 is the same as 4/3. It's just going to take that slope and go up in smaller increments to make it a little easier. So now let's go ahead and use that slope of 4/3. We're going to start down here. And since the slope is 4/3, we're going to go up 4 and over 3. Up 4 and over 3. It takes us here. And just to make sure, let's go up 4 again and over 3. There we are. Up 4 again over 3. There it is. That worked out. And we can go up 4 again and over 3. And that takes us here. We'll connect these with a straight line. And now we have to identify the y-intercept of that line. So the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and that was down here. We found that at -3. So your y-intercept, -3. Now that you have your slope, now that you have your y-intercept, just make an equation out of it. So we have y equals 4/3 x minus 3. That's the equation of that line. So the key here was we had to take that slope and we had to reduce it first, because if you just took those 2 points and tried to connect them with a straight line, your line might not be perfectly straight and you might be off by a little bit. So by breaking that slope down a little bit, we were able to be slightly more precise. And one last example before we get going. Find the equation of the line that goes through the points -10, 10 and 10, 0. So negative 10, 10 would be this point way up here. And the point 10, 0 goes over 10 and up by 0. So that would be way down here. Let's start by calculating the slope. So the slope in this problem, again, just think of your rise over run. To get from this point on the left to this point on the right, it has to go down. And how many was it going down by? Just went down by 10. So this rise is down 10, and then it has to run all the way over here. Now, if it started here at negative 10 and it went to positive 10, it ran by 20. So the run is going to be 20. So the run is 20, I'll put that there. Your slope, we can write it as negative 10 over 20. It went down 10 and over 20. We can reduce this. So what number can we divide them both by? 10. And if we divide it by 10, we get negative 1 over 2. So I know that the slope between those 2 points is going to be negative 1/2. So now let's be a little more precise about how we graph these. And we will start up here, and we're going to go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, and so on, and so on. And hopefully, if we did it right, it's going to go through that last point, which it did. Good. Now we're going to connect this with our straight line. Put the arrows on the end. We have to identify the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is going to be right there, and that's at 5. So now that we have the slope, now that we have the y-intercept, just write the equation out of it. So it will be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. So I know that all of these problems kind of conveniently worked out for you, where we got a nice easy value for the y-intercept here. They were all able to fit on the graph. In the next lesson, they won't all be so easy to graph. So we're going to show you how to do that algebraically. But for now, try these next couple. See if you can get the right answer, throw them into Schoology and see how you did. I'll see you in the next video, everyone.